All right, yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode. I am BeBall Jones, and today I have another special guest for you. This is a great dude that I've known for a few years now, man, and it's humbling to be around somebody with this kind of heart and passion for the game, and just to see where he came from and see where he's at now. It's dope to see now. So I know this is my little intro, but I'm gonna really let him introduce himself for you guys. So welcome in, my bro, Eric. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? I'm Eric Adams. I'm known BeBall Jones for, like you said, a few years now. All through, I went to Stanford University, and I met him while I was over there. And I was at Stanford for 5 years. I walked on when I first got there, and just worked my way up from there. Now going to my fifth season professionally, so just trying to keep it going as long as I can. It's a great guy right here. Worked plenty of camps with him, got in the gym with him plenty of times. So just it's family. It's family pretty much at this point. So just happy to
Yeah.
be here. Happy he has me on.
Man, I appreciate you hopping on, man. So tell the people where you at right now, man. It's pretty interesting to hear about.
Uh, I just touched down in Finland a couple of days ago. So trying to shake the jet lag off. Getting into practices, getting to know the guys, getting to know the coaches, everything. So still early, but I think we're going to look pretty good this year. So that's the hope. That's the hope.
So what's it been like over there, man? It's been a crazy experience being overseas like that.
Yeah, it was. It's yeah. Like I've enjoyed it. Like I played in Sweden my first 2 years. So like fresh out of Stanford, I went to Sweden, and that year was for sure a shock. But I don't think I really could have went to a better place.
Mm.
Like everybody was super nice, English speaking. Basketball wise, everybody on my team was cool. The coach was he believed in me, which is all you can ask of any coach, honestly. And yeah, it worked out. We won the championship my first year, and then I ended
Mm.
up going back again. And then we played like European competitions where we go like basically all around the world playing different teams. Like we flew to Russia to play, we flew to Romania, Bulgaria, Belgium, like all while you playing against the Swedish teams. So yeah, my first 2 years was definitely an experience. Then my last two, I've been in Geneva, Switzerland,
Mm.
and that was a whole another experience. Switzerland is just a beautiful place. Um, yeah, we had another good team over there. So now I'm in Finland trying to do the same thing.
Mm.
So it's been a journey, man. Like it's like I'm blessed to be able to do this. Like I said, I was a walk on. Like I wasn't even thinking professional like at any point
Mm.
of my career. So yeah, like it's just a blessing to do what I'm doing right now, and just gonna try to keep it going, keep putting my all into it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that. Like when you're growing up, did you see yourself like being able to be a pro at this level, going overseas and doing everything that you're doing right now?
Absolutely, absolutely not. I didn't even make the team until my 11th grade year. Like I was
Mm.
like I tried out seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, got cut every year. And I feel like that's where like I got like my competitiveness from, like because I'm really competitive.
Mm.
I'm really like I like to win all that, and I think like that's where it kind of like built from. Like basically, like, you're not being good enough, so it's like you getting hit with that every year, and like guys are in the gym at practice, all that. I'm in my yard, like I'm in my yard trying to
Yeah.
get better. So like it was yeah, like it's I never imagined this, but I mean I guess it just shows like what hard work does, because I mean that's really all it was. I didn't necessarily have a vision, but I
Mm.
knew I was going to try to work harder than the guy next to me. Like that's like
Mm.
I was really good at like setting like immediate goals. It's like okay, I want to get on Stanford's basketball team. I'm trying my hardest to do that. Got on the team. All right, now I want to try to get some minutes. Do work as hard as I can to get some minutes. Now
Yeah.
like I'm playing like 2-3 minutes, and I want more than that. So like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what I got to do to really get on the floor. So it's like that's kind of how I built it. I know a lot of guys were like, "Yo, I'm trying to get to. I want to be pro." They thinking that like from like 10 years old, which is
Mm.
great. But I'm like, that's just not how my parents was really raising. They're like, yeah, they hit me with like 1% every basketball. Like a basketball player is going professional, all that. I'm like, yeah, they right. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I was. They always had me focus on school, which of course they should have. But
Yeah.
basketball's always been the passion for sure. Like I always loved it. I always loved watching it. Like just everything about it. So yeah, to like go back to your question. Like no, I could never imagine what I'm doing. Like just gotta thank God really. Like I had no clue this is where my journey was gonna take me at all. So
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting because like you said, you didn't make a team to 11th grade. So what made you keep going, and what was like the decide? Because you hit, a lot of kids at that point where it's like, I'm still not making a team, I'm still not here yet. So like, you hit a crossroad decision where it's like, do I keep pushing regardless, or do I give up and try something else? So what was that conversation you had with yourself? What happened to make you keep going?
um, I think it was just that feeling you have when you think you're good enough, but somebody else is just telling you you're not. So it's like
Mm,
that I feel like that is just like the ultimate motivator. It's like now it's just like I want to prove to I don't know if it was the coach, like the players, like like it's high school, like middle school, so it's like like everybody like throwing little shots at you, all that. So it's like
yep.
that kind of puts a little battery in your back. So like
Mm-hmm.
by the time I made it in my 11th grade year, I'm on JV the whole year. So I'm like I'm not even playing. I played 1 year of varsity.
Mm,
So it was just like prove like get on the team, then it's like try to show what I can do. And then I mean, when I made the team, I wasn't thinking about playing college. So
mm,
like I said, everything was just immediate. Like okay, like I want to get on the team. All right, I want to see if I can play. And then it's like once you get out there, it's like, huh, I'm better than I thought I was. Like or these guys aren't as good as I thought they were. It's like one or the other. So
yeah.
yeah, like you hit that point. Like I did hit a point where like I thought about it, like 11th grade year. Now you thinking about like college, like what you got to do, like what's the next step. And that year, just the high school coach saw me playing in his PE class. And he saw me like score a couple times. He's like, "All right, come up here like 6 a.m. Like let's just try you out." And then put me on JV, and then varsity
Mm,
the next year. So like yeah, I definitely hit a crossroads, but like I said, like when like passions and stuff, everybody's gonna hit a crossroad. Like what you
mm-hmm.
really love, what you really want to do, like everybody's gonna have to hit that. Basically, sink or swim. Like what you want to do. Like is this really what you want to do? If not, then you have to pivot. But like I knew I loved basketball. Like I just enjoyed it. Like if I wasn't playing professionally, I'd probably still be in the gym somewhere, like just playing.
Yeah.
So it's like that's just I've always had that love for it, and I think that's just like when you hit a crossroads, that's what's going to push you through, like every time, and
Mm,
whatever you do. And then I feel like if you're in something you don't love to do when you hit that crossroads, it's probably going to be real tough to like get through it. So
yeah.
like yeah, like it was just the passion, the love I had for the game. My family supported, of course, but yeah, like it's you gotta have it. Like you just gotta love it to do like to do this basketball. What like to do it at the level like high school, college, beyond that. Like you gotta have some sort of love and passion for it.
Yeah. And you went to Hoover, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we right.
So what was that like, up there? Cause Hoover,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what were y'all like around that time. We y'all up there? I don't remember what were y'all like around that time.
Basketball wise,
Yeah.
basketball. My senior year when I was on varsity, we were good. Like we went 21-0, and then
Mhm.
we ran into Justin Coleman and Winona.
Oh
And
yeah.
that game was crazy. Like every coach from like this, every college coach from the state came. Like game was packed out. They beat us, but we were actually good because Hoover's known for football. Like they had 2 days of
Yeah.
show growing up, like on MTV. But like that was like my junior year they were good, and my senior year we were really good. And after that, they were like in the Final Four, like winning the championship, basically like the next like 3 years.
Hmm.
So Hoover Hoover was honestly like kind of just prime at everything. Like they were still winning the football, track they won every year. Then basketball just kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's like Hoover
Yeah.
was really like a little powerhouse over there. That like while I was there. So and there's Hoover's always gonna be Hoover. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hoover footballs, that's we ain't gotta talk about that. That's them,
different,
you know.
different,
But
different.
and then boys basketball, it fluctuated. It has times where they're really great,
Yeah.
then it's like a year or two down. So that's why I can
Mhm.
remember exactly where y'all were around that time.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
coach I had, he was there for a while. So then I think he left a couple years after, got another job in I forgot what school, but in Alabama. But yeah, it was Hoover was they call it. I mean, they call it Hoover U for a reason. Like
Yeah.
it could really feel like college at times. Like had a lot of students, a lot of athletes, like just everything.
Yeah. So for you to be at a school with a program like that, you know what I mean, at the high levels, like you said, 21-0. So what was your workout like on your own to build up to be the player of that level? Because you know what I mean, you came from nothing to on the team now. So what was your workout like personally to get to that level?
This to My workout coming out like to get on the team. What was I doing to get to that point?
Yeah.
Um, it was like I was in the yard grinding. Like it was. It sounds like kind of like cliche, but I was like ever since I was a kid, like I was really good at like imagining. So it's like I was
Mm-hmm.
like I watch a game or something, then like I remember watching like Tracy McGrady. And then like he had like a big
Mm-hmm.
shot game where I'd go out and I'd be just working on that. Like I want to do that. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm not Tracy McGrady, but I'm like that's
Yep.
how like I just wanted to emulate everything I saw. And I feel like that kind of comes through in my game because I'm like, yeah, I play the five, but I can put the ball on the floor. I can shoot a little bit. Like I can do other things. And that's how my dad taught me how to play the game. That's how he played the game. It's like you got to be able to do more than one thing. You
Mm-hmm.
can't limit yourself. So yeah, that's I was in the yard just doing whatever. Because I mean, when you're out there by yourself, ain't nobody putting no guidelines on you, any trying to box you in. So I'm like, I'm out here doing
Yep.
whatever I want to try to just get rhythm, just get everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it just came together. Like I was always tall, but by like my junior year, I was probably like 6'5", and then and I had like a little bit like I could play. So like 6'5" in 11th grade, you could play a little bit. Like coach wanted to give that a chance. And
Yep.
yeah, like once he had me try out, they saw me dunk one time, and it was like, okay, well, like he could at least have a spot. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then from then on, like in high school, it was more like I was just trying to keep up in a way because like the guys that were
Mm-hmm.
on the team were guys like I knew from like I said 7th grade, like they've been on the team the whole time. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, these guys way ahead of me, so let me try to copy what they're doing. Like let me
Yeah.
try to like that. I'm learning from them, and then yeah, like that's kind of the approach I had to take. Like I didn't really know any better. I was new to it. I was just kind of happy to be there.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like I say, college is when like I really it turned the corner for me when I got to
Mm.
Stanford for sure.
Yeah. That outside training when you still in the mood from a player like that. I think that's really how our generation grew up hooping for
For
real. For real.
sure,
Like
for
we
sure.
didn't have a trainer. Like some of us had trainers, but most of us
Yeah,
didn't. So it's just like you watch the highlights from last night's game, and the next
exactly.
day at PE or the next day
Uh huh.
after school, usually outside trying to
Right.
move. And that was our training practice, pretty much, man. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like your ball rolled down the hill, you got to go get it. So it's like you can't miss the next shot. It's like
yeah,
they put some pressure on yourself. Like working outside is different. Like and like of
yeah,
course working with trainers all through your like childhood and all that is good for you. But I feel like the way we came up in this basketball world is different for sure. For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I try to tell it to the kids I'm training. I'm just like, man, y'all gotta go hoop more. Like I can train y'all and stuff, but it's like don't nothing teach you basketball like playing the game itself.
They say real world experience. You need live experience. That's it. Like you can't cones don't move. Cones
Yeah,
ain't trying to pressure you. Like your
yeah,
trainer's basically just rebounding. He's telling you what to do, but like once you have like a real defender guarding you and all that, like that's when like your brain clicks. Like
yep,
that's when you're like, and then you do a move that works. And it's like, oh, that's like this is how I do it. Like doing it
yeah,
with the cone, it's like you can get the rhythm, like you can, and you make all the shots you want. But like once somebody like actually puts some contact on you, it gets a little different.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So you talked about how you went to Sanford. So how did you get to Sanford to get in a situation? Like how was that set up? Because 1 year varsity to Sanford, which is a D1 program. So like how did that
Mhm.
happen? From Hoover to Sanford.
Yeah. My mom actually she taught in the law school for like 15 years, coming up into
Mm,
my freshman year. So I was going there regardless. Like she worked
mm-hmm.
there. Like it was just a good situation, not far from home. Like I grew up in Hoover. So like I was going there as a student. Like and like honestly, it was I don't know if you know Dr. Gregory, but she works at Sanford. She's a friend of my mom and she was like she knew at the time it was Benny Seltzer, he was the head coach. She like
Oh
kind of
yeah,
knew him a
Benny.
little bit. And she was like, let me email him, like tell him like you got a little bit of interest, blah, blah, blah. And like she literally walked me over there to his office. He was like, okay, yeah, like you can go out there and play with the guys. I think this was like early August or something. I'll
Mm,
walk out there. And you know how it is in college. Like the guys looking at me, they kind of start laughing. They're like, all right, man, you guard him. Like, all right. They put me on Ray John Kelly. This man, he was like second team all conference the year before. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue. I'm like, all right, bet. Like he's skinny. Like I'm like, okay, like I think I could check him. Man, yeah, he might have had all 11 on me first game. I was like, that. I went home like, yo, like this college level a little different. Like this is a little
Yeah.
different. Then they kind of like they joked to me and they're like, yeah, like we put you in. We was kind of messing with you. You wasn't supposed to be able to guard him. But that was in like early August. And then like once school came in, I went back to them and they knew who I was, so that they gave me a chance. I actually got in at like the last week in conditioning. Like like it was
Mm.
like like September, last week in conditioning. And I'm just out there just like just trying my hardest just to keep up, just to do whatever. And yeah, like it was that's what they told me. There's like just the fact that you like could get through like conditioning like just fresh out the classroom. Like these guys been running for like a month. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you got through it. I wouldn't say like I was winning nothing, but it's like you did it. So they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you know at least get a spot, and then just went from there. It was a rough year, but that that's how I got on there. It's basically like a connection through my mom. Like my mom worked there. I was gonna go there as a student, then it was kind of like, well, I might as well like see what the coach is talking about, and
Yeah.
just ended up being a blessing. And that's that's all I can say.
Yeah, that's really a test of your heart and your character. Like you said before, like you're competitive and like
Mm-hmm.
you could have easily went out there. Like you got an opportunity, but you could have went out there and just been like, "Yo, I'm not in shape." Like you could have used that as an excuse of why you're not performing, but you was like, "I'm gonna finish it anyway." And that's really
Right,
what kind of, in my my little perspective, what got you on the team. It's like
right.
so many kids have a situation where they could have made it. Like you could have just maybe been on the team, you might not have played, but you got a lot of heart, and I'm telling what you can do when you actually up to speed with everybody else. So I feel like just you
Exactly.
having the heart to compete and still show up, that's kind of what got you on the spot.
That's what a lot of coaches look for. Like it's when you get to a certain level, like especially like college, like everybody can play. Like
Mhm.
everybody on that college level can play. So it's like, what's
Yeah,
going to separate you? Is it going to be like your heart, your effort, like, and those you can't teach those things. Like some guys are gonna play hard,
yeah,
some guys aren't. Some guys are going to dive on the floor. Some guys are going to like put their nose in. Like we're like, hey, like some guys aren't. Some guys are like, okay, yeah, you got it. Like I'm cool. But I think that's what separates a lot of players, and
hmm
that's that work ethic, that effort, that heart. Like that's literally what separates a lot of players, and that's stuff you can control. Like I control if I go as hard as I can. Like nobody else can control that. Like
hmm
you can control to a certain extent whether you make a shot, but like at some point, like it's gonna be out of control. Like if it goes in and out, like there ain't nothing you can do about it. But if I'm
yeah,
playing hard defense, if I'm trying to like if I'm thinking in my head this guy isn't gonna score on me, like that's me. Like that's I can control that.
yeah,
Like my competitiveness, like how hard I go, like how like just yeah, just stuff like that.
yeah. So tell me about your experience at Sanford, man. You finally made the team now. So like, what was the first few years like?
Freshman year was rough, but like I said, it was like I was a walk on. I came in late, so I had no clue what I was expecting. So I'm
Hmm
like I'm juggling like conditioning practice, class, like I don't know what's going on. So like I get through that year, and like I'm not gonna lie, like I thought about hanging them up. I'm like, yo, like this. I'm like, yo, this might not be for me. Like it was like my
Yeah,
grades were suffering and everything. I'm like, I wasn't getting nothing right. I'm like, I'm not playing and I'm getting bad grades. So I'm like, this, like something got to give. But like the next year, the assistant coach got promoted, and he like Coach Scott Padgett, he got promoted,
Coach P.
and he gave me a chance. He sat me down. He said like yeah, like I don't really see like the walk on tag with you. It's like so like in practice all that like it's gonna be fair game. And but that's literally all I can ask for. Like that's
Hmm
it, just an even playing field. And like from then on, just work my way
hmm
up day by day. And Coach Fair in the weight room for sure was huge, huge in my huge in my development. Like I went to Sanford, I was like 6'6", like 185. So like by the time I was like my sophomore year, I was probably like 210 for sure. So it's
hmm
like Coach Ferris had me in that weight room a lot, which I thank him for. Like I wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how did you learn to balance, schoolwork and basketball and everything? So like I know that's a tough balance that everybody has to deal with. And like for you personally, how did you, deal with that balance of it?
Um, it's focus. Like I said, like with everything, like focus, effort, like what this is what you signed up for. Like you're a student athlete.
Yeah.
This is what you want to do. You want to play in college, you got to go to class and you got to play. You got to produce. So like it was kind of like the realization where it's like nobody's gonna feel bad for you. Like nobody's gonna feel
Hmm.
sorry that you gotta get up at 6 a.m. and lift, then go to class at 8. Like nobody cares. Like
Yeah.
teachers don't care either. Teachers like, yo, like you
Nope.
late? Like you yeah, so that's like it's kind of like getting introduced to the real world. Like you gotta kind of like toughen up. Like, all right, this is what we doing. And like
Yeah.
I look back on like my whole college career. Like you definitely like you learn so many lessons. Like you learn what you can do. You learn just so much about yourself. Like just juggling all that and like well, I'm like now, like I don't even have class. So I'm like if something like goes wrong or like something gets tough on the court, it's like well, I'm like you someone tough on the court back then. Like you handled it then when you was juggling everything. So
Yeah.
it's like references. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's really what college was for me. It was building blocks, like just toughen me up, like just mentally, just got to get through classes. Like yo, you got to test, you got to study. Don't care, we got
Hmm.
to practice tomorrow. Don't care, we got a game. Like you got to study, you got to get these grades right because they're looking at the whole GPA too. Like you can't be bringing the team GPA down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. Like you learn, you really learn what you're made of. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So Scotty,
yeah.
when when did that birth? Like where did that come from?
That literally came about like literally the tryout. Like I was trying to try out. So like they had me like they threw me in a workout and I don't even know what drill it was, but like I just went up and like dunked it. Like to me, like it wasn't even anything crazy. And like the coach just like it was Jay Kedrick, the assistant coach. He like kind of looked. He was like, "What? We got Scottie Pippen in the building." He's like, "Coach, look at this. We got Scottie Pippen." And like the whole gym starts like dying. And like literally from that day on, like every player, every coach, like knew me as Scotty. Like from then on, like I couldn't shake it. I didn't want to. Like it was a good nickname.
Oh
And
yeah.
like from day one, that was the nickname, and it's stuck ever
Mm.
since. Stuck ever since.
Cause when I first got to meet you, it was like one person call you Eric, and then most people call you Scotty. So I was just like, "Who is this Scotty
Yeah,
person?" Like, it was
yeah,
two different people, so I was kind of confused. But
yeah.
then I remember how
No,
I
that's
got
the
it
worst.
put together. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, that's the worst. I like when I was at Sanford, I would never know how to introduce myself. I'm Eric, but then like if I'm with like a basketball player, like no, that ain't Eric, that's Scotty. Like
yeah,
so it's like you just kind of do juggle that. But I mean, it's a good problem to have. I didn't mind. But yeah, it came
yeah,
from like day one, day one.
yeah. That's a dope nickname to have to be named after Scotty Pippen. So can't
Yeah,
complain
I
about that
appreciate
one.
it. Yeah, I appreciate it for sure.
So how did it feel to play at Sanford, man? What were some of the best games and memories that you have up there?
It was amazing to play at Sanford. Like just like that D1 experience. So it's like you're playing high majors, you're playing all types of different teams, you're traveling. So like I think it was great. Like we played against Louisville, played against like Donovan Mitchell and them, played against like
Mm,
Cincinnati, played against like so like you play against high level players, which is all you can ask for. Like, that's the most you can ask for.
yeah.
And yeah, like in conference we were competitive. Like had like one year we had against Wofford, we had like a 4 overtime game, like at their place.
Mm.
And that same year we had a 2 overtime game at like our place against them. So it's like we played Wofford like 6 overtimes that year. So it was like
That's crazy.
it was competitive. That SoCon. I don't know if it's slept on now. Like it has respect, but that SoCon is serious. Like just competitively, like inside that league, like it's really competitive.
Yeah.
So I just think like being in that sort of like environment where like every game like isn't gonna be there's no walk in the park, like none
Mm,
of them. So it's like that it wakes you up every game. Like
yeah.
every game you got to be on it. Like
Yeah.
there's no days off.
So what would you say is your best game and or your favorite game?
My I'll go with favorite. My favorite game I got a couple. Like when my at Sanford
Yeah.
or okay at Sanford. Um, at Sanford, I would say my favorite game was Chattanooga my senior year. It was our first conference game, and I think Chattanooga was like supposed to be really good. They were like kind of the favorites going in, and we just came in and just ran them off the court. Like like, that was when we had like Justin Coleman, like we had Shark, we had Dyson Thompson, like we were good. Like we just came
Yeah.
in and like just got them up out of there. I think that was like my first game where I like, or like fans were even like, oh, like who's this? Like I was going to like everybody, like just like the team looked good, like we were all like playing together. I think that's the one I remember a lot. And I remember that Louisville game. Just,
Mm.
we lost by a lot, but I'm like just the environment. Like it was Rick Pitino's last year coaching. They
Yeah.
actually couldn't make the tournament that year, but they was almost like national championship favorites that year. They had Donovan Mitchell come off the bench. They had Damian Lee starting in front of them. That's like we ain't had really nothing for them. But it was
Yeah.
amazing experience. Stuff like that was I'd say like that was one of the most memorable ones. Like just to see like this is the level you got to be at if you like this level people's at like we watching on TV. It's like
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
on TV is way different than actually standing next to him and like having to box him out, like having to try to get a
Oh yeah.
rebound over him. Like just a completely different game. But I say those are like my two most memorable from college. I would say.
So who else was some of the biggest names that you played against? Like you just mentioned Donovan Mitchell. Who were the other, might not have went pro, but like just bigger names
Mm.
or, bigger talent that you played
Um,
against?
Played against Donovan Mitchell was on that team. Damian Lee was on that team. Matthew Yang, the five, he was on that team. Well, we played Cincinnati. They had what's his name? He played on the Rockets. Well, I forget his name. It's gonna come back to me. Um, we played Texas. Who was on that Texas team? Roach, like Curran Roach. He was. I don't know if he made the NBA, but he was good. He like super athletic. Like he was on the ESPN top 10 like every week.
Mm-hmm.
We actually beat Nebraska. I don't think they had like any like super big names, but they were good. They were Big Ten, so that was a
Yeah.
huge win for us. But yeah, like, I think those were like Damian Lee, Donovan Mitchell, and then keep forgetting his name, but Cincinnati, they had some big names on that team. Oh, Jacob Evans was on that Cincinnati team. He got drafted by the Warriors
Mm.
that year. He was
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
team. So yeah, like we played against some big names for sure. And then I actually redshirted a year, and I think that year they played Purdue and like another big team, but I didn't actually get to play against them. So I
Mm.
played against a few. Played against a few.
Yeah. Y'all had a really good teams. I remember 3 years probably for you. Probably I see y'all had like really. Y'all never had a bad team at all. Some days y'all had like
Yeah,
a really
exactly.
talented team, but it wouldn't actually mesh together
It
that
wouldn't come
well.
together exactly.
Yeah, I remember one year. I don't want to mention the year. I ain't trying to, offend nobody. Now. But y'all had a year
Yeah.
where like people were very talented, but y'all just
Right.
couldn't put all the pieces together. And then like y'all had a
Yeah.
lot of injuries and stuff. So like he'll go
Yeah.
out and he'll come back in, and somebody else go out and they come back in. So it's just like y'all
Right.
couldn't ever get anything to click that year. But y'all had like 2, maybe 3 years. I remember where it's just like y'all got something special in y'all hands. So
Right.
it
Right.
was fun to
No,
watch
that
y'all
was
then.
yeah, that was Stanford. I will say about that coaching staff, they always brought talent in. Like they're always going to get some players. They're always going to get some players. Now whether they could get them to play together, like that was a whole different game. But
Yeah.
they were going to bring some talent in for sure. Like, there is no doubt about that. Like I feel like we were one of the most fun teams to watch in the SoCon. Like we may not have been
Mm-hmm.
like necessarily winning like the championship, but like teams knew about us. Like when we came
Yeah.
in, like teams weren't asleep. Like teams were
Yeah.
definitely up to play against us. But yeah, like you said, like it was like we were like right there, like right on that.
Yeah.
Like we were just about to turn the corner, but like could never quite get there.
Yeah. Y'all for sure always had the guard play. Like that's one position like ridiculous. Like
Absolutely.
CC, J. Cole, like Shark. Now they got Quez. It's just like ridiculous, endless of guards.
Yeah.
Even like early years, like your first few years, like Ray John Kelly, like y'all had
Mm,
endless guards up there. It was, oh my
yeah.
goodness, like nasty.
For sure. We were gonna run that pick and roll. That's one
Oh
thing
yeah,
we were gonna do. That's one thing. But no, I love my guards. Like you said, CC went to Louisville after he graduated. Justin Coleman went to Arizona after you graduated. That speaks for itself. Like,
Yeah.
and both of them went and started at both of them, Pac-12 and ACC. So it's like
Yep.
that speaks for itself about like the talent they was bringing in. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it was fun to watch y'all, man. But so tell me about from Sanford to first year pro. Like, how was that transition happening? What was the process going through to get from, collegiate to pro game?
Um, yeah, like I said, I had no clue like I wanted to even play professionally. So like as soon as I graduated, like just kind of agents just kind of start hitting me up, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, there's actually, oh, you want to play? You want to play? You want to play? And like literally like calling. So it's like okay, then you kind of like go through that sort of process, like figuring out because like. And then, like a couple of my teammates were going through the same thing, so we're talking to like the same people, we're talking to each other, trying
Mm.
to figure out like what's going on. So, like after I picked my agent, he got me into the Eurobasket showcase out in Vegas. So I had to fly out there in like June, and I was out there for about a week, and we had to play. It was like the same time as the summer league, so we had to go out there and play. And I played well. Like they had a top 30 All Star team and a top 20 All Star team. I made the top 20. So like I got some looks off that. Then the coach I played for in Sweden, he was actually watching it. Then started talking to my agent, and then eventually offered me, and then that's where I went my first year. And
Mm.
it actually happened pretty quick because like I went out to Vegas, I played well, and then like literally like right before I got on the plane to go back, like I started talking to that coach, and then I probably signed like within the week.
So how fast was the whole process, to get to the showcase and from showcase to sign with the team?
I'd say like within like 2 weeks. Like showcase was a week, and then that next week I was probably signed. So like
Mm.
it was like Eurobasket like overseas, like that's like one of the biggest kind of like information centers. Like that's like they got the website, they have everybody's stats, like every team, like every that's kind of like the database. Like if you want to keep up with like European basketball. So like the guy who was running it, he was like, yo, if any of y'all don't have an agent, like he was talking to like the all-star, the top 20 team. He's like, yo, if any of y'all don't have an agent, just come to me because like all y'all should. So
Mm.
like there was a lot of good players. Like Isaiah Williams was at Sanford with me. He transferred to
Mm.
Georgia State. He was there. Um, Breon Holland was at Mercer was there. Brandon Tabb was there. Like he's playing in my league this year. Actually, he played at Bethune Cookman. So like there was a lot of guys went pro out of that for sure.
Mm.
But yeah, the process was super quick. Like I big ups to Eurobasket. They put on a really good event for sure.
Mm. So how did you feel? Like, were you nervous to go overseas like that? What type of preparation did you do for yourself to like be like, man, I'm finna go like, oh my goodness, overseas, and
Yeah,
what was that like for you?
and I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was terrified. I was terrified. I had like coming from like I said, like I grew up in Hoover, like middle school, high school, went to Sanford, like 10 minutes away. I've never really been away from home. So it's
Mm.
like that year, like right after so basically when I graduate, within 2 months, like I'm on my own in Sweden,
Mm.
like in Europe. So like that shock itself is rattling for sure. And it was rough. Like it was like mentally, like it was rough. Um, just like anybody, like I compared it like that was basically like my freshman year of college. Like a lot of
Mm.
students go off, like learn how to get on their own. Like in college, me, I didn't really do that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that's like it took me about like a month. Like it took me about like 4 weeks to really like adjust. And then once I settled in, it was really smooth. Like great people. We had a really good team. Like I said, won the league that year. Like it was once I settled in, like kind of realized like, yeah, this isn't bad at all. So
Yeah.
there's nothing to be worried about. There's nothing to be anxious about. Like once I settled in, everything just came together.
So what is the Sweden like? What is it like over there? Like just culture wise and off the basketball court, what is it like over there?
Um, it's similar. The people are different. The people are kind of a little shyer than Americans, which like
Mm.
is fine. But culture wise, it's really Americanized over there. Like it really is. Like the
Mm.
food isn't much different. Like everybody speaks English. Like they a lot of people I met, they was like, yeah, like they taught me English like when I was in second grade. Like so they speak in English just as good as us. So it's
Mm.
like that adjustment was really easy. Like that's one thing I really appreciated because like a lot of places players go, like there's not much communication at all. So it's like you're just
Yeah.
kind of guessing around all that. But in Sweden, it was really smooth. Like everybody spoke English. Didn't have like the food was really similar to back home, and yeah, the people were cool. Like they're not as I don't know, like as like I don't want to say like warm. Like they're not cold, but like how, like Americans like see you walking down the street, they'll speak. Like that's not
Yeah.
it's not like that over there. But like the people were still really nice. They embraced me, which I have love for them like always for that. So yeah, it was an adjustment more for me. Like it was an adjustment like mentally more than culturally. But yeah, like it was. There's subtle differences, but nothing too crazy when I went to Sweden.
Mm. So what was that mental adjustment you had to deal with?
Just I think it was just dealing with adversity, like whether like whatever it is, like whether you have a bad practice, whether you get mad at or get frustrated with a teammate, where the coach gets on you. So it's like usually it's like okay, like I go home, I can talk to mom and dad, or I could do that. But now it's like all right, we're 7 hours difference. So it's like if I call them, I don't know if they're in the bed, I don't know if they're at work. So
Hmm.
you like just dealing with stuff on your own, which like I said, like a lot of people do like go through that in college. But for
Hmm.
me, like I went through that like really like isolated like my first year professional. And yeah, it was rough. Like I said, like after that first month, like I really settled in, and then like my teammate, like just you gotta get around your teammates. You gotta get around like just gotta get around some people. Like just get around like find your find your comfort zone. That's it. That's it. Wherever you are.
So with that adjustment, like I know me personally, I like to play mind games with myself. When you're struggling through something, you kind of have to play a game with yourself to either like make it not as big as it seems, or you have to just like coach yourself through it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so like how did you personally overcome that thing? You know what I mean? Like you said, like you can't go to mom and dad like you used to. So like how did you personally overcome that pocket of like I'm uncomfortable over here, I have to deal with X, Y, and Z. So how did you personally like coach yourself through? Like, what do you mean? What is your process of going through that process?
At that point in time, my only like fallback was to go back to my mindset I had when like I was like a freshman at Sanford. So it was like I was just on go, like play as hard as you can, like dunk
Mm-hmm.
everything, like I'm talking, like I'm just aggressive, because like that's like I don't like I'm not comfortable here, so it's like I'm gonna make people adapt to me, which honestly like
Mm-hmm.
isn't always the best way to do it, but like that was the only way I knew how to do it, because I'm like I said, walk on, like you're scratching and clawing for everything, so
Yeah.
like I'm trying to prove like I belong here, and then like literally my coach comes up to me, he's like Eric, like you don't have to talk to everybody like this, man. Like it's okay, man. Like it's like come on, man. Like it's like we're teammates here. I'm like my bad, coach. Like it's just kind of like how I'm wired right now. But I actually
Yeah.
played with Eric Garcia, who played at Wofford. He broke a bunch of records at Wofford. He was my point guard my first year,
Mm.
and early on, like I think like I was. It was definitely me. Like I think it was just subtle, just kind of Wofford beat us like every year, and I just think like it was just me and him would just kind of go at it for like no reason. And then like literally like after like I hit that mental block, after that like we were like best friends. Like that's my guy to this day. And I'm like I like to this day I feel bad. I'm like, what was I doing? Like I was but like that was it. Like I wasn't wilding, but like on the court, like how it gets, like I was just intense. But like that was
Yeah.
the only way, like that was the only thing I knew at that point. So yeah, like it was that I just like when you like I think when you hit like adversity, like I think you're always gonna kind of revert back to your habits, like whatever, like
Mm.
whether it's what got you there or what your foundation is. And like to me, I reverted like what got me there. So I'm like,
Mm.
what put me on the floor at Stanford? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do the same thing and try to get me on the floor out here. And like out there, it's a little different. It's like, yo, like we already know you can play a little. Like we already know you can play. So
Yeah.
it's like we're trying to get the team to come together. Like you don't have to prove anything to us. So
Yeah.
that was a big adjustment. It's like now like
Mm.
we've seen you play. Like we you're here for a reason. It was like like learning how to play now, learning how to play with like that confidence, like
Mhm.
building off that was what I was really having to learn.
Was it hard to take your like carry your confidence over from Sanford to over there?
Mm, no, it wasn't. If I'm being completely honest, because what they brought me over to do, like I can do. Like they wanted me
Mhm.
to come over there and be athletic. So like,
Yeah.
you want me to go dunk? Like, okay, I can do that. Like, you want me to catch loves? I can do that. So like, that was kind of like my safety net. So like, they
Hmm.
didn't need me to come over there and like shoot 40%. They didn't need me to come over here and like, I don't know, but like they wanted me to be a pick and roll player. Like we had good guards, we had really good shooters. So it's like, if you're if the team's playing us, it's like, well, you gonna give up a dunk or a three? So it's
Yeah.
that's like the adjustment was really easy. Like it just slid. Like I just fit into like a really like perfect team for like my skill set. So it was like for what they needed me to do, it really wasn't like I was pretty confident in what I could do when I got out there.
So your game didn't change too much from Sanford to Sweden.
No, not in Sweden. I had to change it when I went to Switzerland, but in Sweden, my first 2 years, it was a lot like Sanford pick and roll, hit them on the
Hmm.
roll, like little dump offs. They switch, throw it inside, like play the mismatch, like real like simple
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
You said you won a championship here, like in Sweden.
Yeah, I wanted my rookie year. We wanted my rookie year. We were
Mm.
that team was good. Like played like 50 games. I think we lost like 10. We were like 40-10. Like we were
Ooh, tough.
we were we were we were good. We were by far the best team. And yeah, it was a crazy season.
So what happened from that year to next year?
So we win, and then we go home. They were trying to re-sign me like before I go back, and I was talking to my agent. He was like, he thought it was a good idea to go back, and I go home. You know how it is over the summer. You're working out, just hanging out, staying in shape. Then I go back, and then we had some guys leave, so it was definitely going to be an adjustment. We brought in like new Americans. There was some new Swedish guys too, so it was basically a whole new team. So like that was
Yeah.
that was an adjustment, trying to fit into like the year before the team was like perfect for like me personally, like shooters, and
Hmm.
then I was just rolling. Like that's hard to guard. Now I'm
Yeah.
playing with like kind of more like scorers, kind of like facilitators. Guys need the ball, so I'm learning how to play off them now, which is fine. Like everybody needs to learn how to do that. If you want to keep doing, you want to keep playing at a high level. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that was. I say that was the only difference. Like it was, we just brought in different players, and then there's always going to be a little adjustment period.
Mm. Because I was going to ask, like, how do you win a championship and then just switch up like that? You know what I mean? Like, why not just run it back? With the same team.
Yeah,
But
like
I
it's
understand.
the professional is different. It's different over there because like you win a championship, and like so a lot of the guys that left were older, so it's like we're older than me. So it's like they get an offer in like Spain or somewhere else. Then they're like, okay,
Hmm.
well, I mean, I gotta go. Like Spain's is a really good league.
Hmm.
So like it's really just it's opportunity. So like we all saw the opportunity in Sweden. Like we all came together, won the championship, and then that's opened up new opportunities for everybody.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. You gotta do what's
Exactly,
best for you.
exactly.
So, yeah.
No hard feelings. No hard feelings.
So, what was that transition from you from Sweden to Switzerland?
Mm, that, that transition. The coach was different. Team was different. Country's different. Just everything. Like just it's like a reset. Like that's really what it was. And the my coach that year, he was way more like precise, like almost militant. It's like, yo, you're gonna be here or it's wrong. Like you're gonna be on time or
Mm-hmm.
you're late. Like that's it. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no in between. There's no like, oh, sorry, I got hit by a screen. There's none of that. Like so, for me, looking back, like that's good. And like that's the like defensively, that's the type of player I am, and that's why he wanted me. So it was more like elite. Like it was like, yo, like we're here to win. It was like this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do to win. And that year we took off. We were like 22-1, like 22 and
Mm-hmm.
one that year. So like that strategy definitely worked. Like he had us locked in for sure. And country wise, it was going from the city I was in Sweden was like kind of like a small city, like not tiny, but like kind of a small city, to playing
Mm-hmm.
in Geneva, which is a, basically a major city. Like, it's a really busy city, and like my apartment was in like kind of like the city. I didn't have a parking spot. Like I'm trying to figure out the bus schedule. I don't know how to get to practice, so it's like really learning how to like just maneuver in the city, like
Mm-hmm.
maneuver with the coach and the players. Like they're expecting like 100% like precise, like everything, and like I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get home. Like it's like I said, like
Yeah.
back in college, like you gotta adjust. Like it's ain't nobody feeling bad for you. It's like they
Mm-hmm.
pay you. Like they're not
Yeah.
here to hear excuses. Like they're not. Yeah, we gave you everything that was in that contract. So like we need you to produce just like we thought you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm glad you said that because back when LaMelo Ball went overseas instead of going to college, it
Mm-hmm.
became over popular talk of like should more college players take that route. And I
Right.
felt like more players would, but it didn't make sense for everybody because LaMelo Ball is a
Mm-hmm.
big enough name to where he'll go overseas and he can, even if he sucks, they're kind of like, oh, he played overseas, he's playing pro ball, so like we'll still take a
Exactly.
shot. Where someone like you who's not as big of a name, you go over there trying to
Mm-hmm.
make it to the NBA, it's a little bit different. So like,
Right.
where do you stand on that from you being the guy that went overseas? Like, do you think more
Mm-hmm.
players should go over there as a route to going pro, or is it more of just like, you know, state of college ball?
I,
Like, what do you think?
are you saying straight out of high school, or just in
Yeah,
general?
straight
Straight
out
out
of
of
high
high school.
school.
Um, that's to go overseas straight out of high school is tough. Like
Hmm.
and like assuming that you're going over there by yourself, like most players do, like that's gonna be a tough like for an 18-year-old because I'm like it's a big adjustment going to college, like where there ain't no language barrier, you
Yeah,
got the same kind of food, you got everything. Now to go to a whole nother country where
yeah,
they're paying you, like I said, they're paying you, you're on a contract, they're expecting like there's expectations, like real expectations. In college, like they have expectations for a freshman, but it's like, okay, it's still a freshman. Like
yeah.
he's got to develop. Like we ain't gonna expect the same thing from a freshman than from a senior. But
Hmm.
overseas, it's like, yo, we signed you. We need exactly what we asked for. So it's
Yep.
like you said, like bigger names and like real like those elite players for sure can do that. But like guys who are kind of like teetering, and I'm not really sure they want to do it. Like I feel like it could really get shaky if you're not all in.
Hmm.
Like I said, like if this is your passion, you're like, yo, this is what I want to do. Like I'm trying to get to the NBA or I'm trying to make a lot of money playing basketball. That's what you want to do, and you're willing to go through whatever to do it. Like then, yeah, like I'm all for it.
Hmm.
But just in general, like I think it's a tough adjustment to go overseas at like 18 and like to work like and to be alone. Like I think that's the most thing like guys struggle with. Like you're by yourself. Like you're like
Yeah.
there's language barrier. You're by yourself. You're going to practice. You're going home. There's not like the social part of it. Like I feel like a lot of people take a hit on that part. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think people see the full scope of everything like you just talked about. Like it's not just, you going overseas to play basketball and it's, kind of cute. Like, it's a whole new lifestyle change. And like you said, being 18-year-old, sometimes
mm-hmm.
17-year-old, like that's a whole nother world. Like that's like you said, college on steroids
Right.
where language barriers sometimes. And depending on the country you go to, it's no English at all. Like the coach don't speak English, your teammates don't speak English, and you're trying to figure something out. And it's like I don't think that makes sense for everybody. It depends because everybody's not built for that. You know what I mean? Like I can be alone on my
Right.
own and I'll
Exactly.
figure something out. I can scrap and get it to eat. My homeboy over
Mm-hmm.
here, he just like that's a lot for me.
Exactly.
So
Like a
so
lot of guys that need like a lot of guys that I play basketball with are like really picky eaters. Like they don't eat nothing. Like, they don't eat like no vegetables or nothing. So I'm like, you come overseas, it's like, hey, it's not all burgers and fries like it is in the States. It's not. You can't find any like chicken fingers. There ain't no Zaxby's. There's none of that. So it's like you're having like you're literally cooking. Like I'm probably cooking like out of 7 days, I'm probably cooking like 4 or 5, but maybe
mm,
more. So it's like you're really like learning how to like live on your own. So
mm,
and that like you said, like that adjustment is harder for some people than it is for others. Like my adjustment might have been nothing. Like my adjustment might not have been as anywhere near as bad as somebody else's. But
oh
like for
yeah,
me, it felt terrible. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. People were like, oh, like what? Like you were what? Like you couldn't find something to eat? Like that was like no, like. But I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
that's what I mean. Like everybody's journey and experience is different.
All right. So overall, what has been your favorite place to play? Not as far as like basketball wise, but like your favorite city to play at.
Mm, I've only played in 2 cities. So like I've only played for 2 clubs in my 4 years. So like
Mm-hmm.
So to tell you, the city I was in Sweden was a smaller city, but it was 20 minutes from Stockholm, which is a gigantic city. So like you
Mm,
kind of had that, like give and take. Like I can chill in the city, or I can like go to Stockholm. Like there's everything, like everything. Like they have like the old town. Like it's really like a, you could tell like there's history there. So like it's really like a fun place to like walk around and just look around at. But like Geneva, on the other hand, is like a busy city. People are working, but then it's like surrounded by like mountains. There's like a huge lake in the middle of the city, so it's like just a gorgeous city. And it's like while I was there, like I just felt like grateful to like be here. Like a lot of people don't even get to go to Switzerland in general. So I'm like to
yeah.
be able to live there for 2 years and play basketball. Like I think it was just an amazing experience. So I say like Geneva. I think Geneva for sure was my favorite city, like just city wise to live in for sure.
Mm, mm. So, what has been the biggest change that you've seen in yourself being overseas now?
Mm, I think I would say maybe like my temperament, like and not even like temperament, like I just be getting mad, but like just kind of learning learning how not to let people get under your skin, or like not letting yourself get not working yourself up. Like people are
Mm,
gonna try to work you up. Like you're gonna get like coach is gonna yell at you, teammates gonna say something, but you're gonna let them do that. But like I had a habit of like working myself up, so it's like I can
mm,
miss a free throw and be like hot, and then next play like I might foul just because I'm mad. Like mad I missed a free throw. Like everybody misses a free throw. What you fouling for? So it's
yeah.
like learning that. Like, and I think I learned that a lot my first 2 years. My first 2 years, I was fouling a lot because, like I said, I didn't know how to play any other way. Like I'm trying to earn my spot. I'm flying around. Like I was overplaying everything. So
Mm,
it's like learning about yourself, like learning your pace on and off the court. So like
mm,
I think that was, yeah, like it was a pretty general answer, but like just learning about yourself, like because you're by yourself. I am like I'm alone, so like you got to get in touch with yourself because you ain't really got nobody else. Like you can call them on the phone,
yeah.
but like it ain't the same as like being at home. So it's like my mom can come out to practice with you. Like mom, dad ain't there for you. Like so it's like you really have like yourself, and that's where you like build your confidence. I'm like if they don't believe me, I believe in myself. Like that's the one thing like I built. Like I know what I can do. Like and at Sanford, I wouldn't say like when I was at Sanford, like I didn't know. I had no clue what I could do. Like I
Mm,
was just out there just enjoying it. Like I'm out here having fun. Then this first year, like I said, like I'm overplaying, but then second year, I'm like, okay, like now I know I belong. Then go
yeah.
third year, fourth year, then that's how you kind of like build the confidence. So
Mm,
I say just learning myself, like just figuring out like what my capabilities are, like what they aren't, like what other players can use off of me, what I can use off of other players, and
mm,
just on and off the court. Like I said, like just learning yourself. I think that's been the biggest thing for me.
mm. So, what did you learn about yourself? Because I know, like, well, what's the biggest thing you learn about yourself? Because I know from year to year, you probably learn little stuff here and there, but like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the biggest thing from Sanford to now that you like? Dang, I didn't know I could do this, or I didn't realize this about myself, or like, because like me personally, it took me a while to like really learn and appreciate certain things about myself. I've been doing it, but then to finally be aware of like, dang, I'm able to do this. I'm a great person at doing this. So like, what did you learn about yourself during that whole process?
Um, I think I'm good at like observing. Like let's just like use the team as an example. I'm good at observing the team and like trying to see where I fit in. Like
Mm,
I'm not gonna come in and like just like these are my shots and y'all are gonna adjust to me. Like that's it. I've never been that type of player. I don't think I ever will be that type of player.
yeah,
And I think it took me a while to kind of learn, but like I've always naturally done it because I've never been that big star player, like the player that taking 15, 20 shots a game, averaging 20
yeah,
points. Like I've never been that. So like I've always just had like coaches have always had me adjusting to everybody else. Then when I go
mm,
overseas, it's like that's just kind of been like the natural thing that I realize I excel at that. So it's like when I'm on the court, like I'm asking like, yo, like what do you want? Like I'm gonna do what I do. Like I'm gonna help. Like I'm here to help you. Like that's it's like just learning how to like communicate. Like communication is really the biggest thing. I think
mm,
learning how to communicate with people and also with yourself. Like just like
Mm,
understanding like just understanding yourself. Like me, like sometimes I have to take a step back. Like when I'm mad and like I just on go. Like whether like I'm arguing or whether I'm playing, like you gotta like kind of take a step back out of yourself. Like yo, like
yeah,
this isn't accomplishing anything. Like what are we doing? Like
yeah,
we're here to win. We're here to play. Like we
yeah.
need to be productive. And I think communication is the biggest thing, and it's something I can still struggle with, like on and
Mm-hmm.
off the court. And I say like that's the biggest thing I've grown in, and I think that's the biggest thing I still have to grow in for sure.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, communication has been a big focus for me this year because like I'm a fairly smart guy. I'm a pretty smart dude, but but like I was literally thinking about this morning, bro. Like communication has zero to do with me. It doesn't care about what I'm talking about, who I am, or nothing. It's like me and you. It's literally about you. So like I have to figure out what I'm trying to convey to you. What's the message I'm trying to get to you?
right.
So how I say it has to come across to you the right way. You feel me? So like it doesn't matter how smart I am, how much I know, whatever. If I can't get it to come across to you the right way. So like communication has been a big thing this year. And that's something that I'm
That
just
is
like, I
that is
knew
like
it, but like
that
uh,
is the biggest point. And I think that was like that point, that specific point right there. I think is where I struggle with, and what I still can struggle with, like how I give it up, like how I like deliver it. Because you know me,
mm-hmm,
like I'm a chill dude. I'm not really hot headed off the court at all. Like I'm
yeah.
chill, like we hang out, all that. But when like it gets intense and all that, like I have like a tendency to like just kind of snap because like I'm just in
Mm-hmm,
that mode. Like I'm intense. I'm playing the five too, so it's like I'm pushing, jumping, all that. So it's like even like if I'm just trying to say something, somebody might just come off like I'm just like I'm mad at them. I'm like, and then I had to
mm-hmm,
realize that because then if I snap at them and they snap back at me, now I'm hot. So now
yeah,
we're in a
yeah,
pointless conflict. And then
yeah,
like I'm thinking that they're snapping at me, but I'm like, really, you're the one that was you one that initiated the whole thing, just
yeah,
because you
yeah,
didn't know how to like you didn't change your tone or you didn't really know how to word it. And
yeah,
I think for sure like learning how to deliver your message the right way is like one of
yeah,
the most important things in life.
yeah,
Where you going to get when like if you don't communicate, like
yeah,
yeah, like nobody's gonna care what you have to say. You just like screaming at like just giving like delivering it the wrong way. Like nobody's gonna listen. Like nobody's gonna
mm-hmm,
care. So
yeah,
yeah, that was definitely my biggest. That's still my biggest job. That's definitely the biggest thing I got to work on for sure. My communication.
yeah. Because like I said, that's been my focus this year to really get big on that. And like I kind of knew it was gonna be a struggle this year because that's my focus. So like anytime you're trying to grow in a certain area, you're gonna be exposed more about how much you suck at it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, trying to like you said, it's really about how you deliver the message. And so like kind of like what I learned about myself this year is like I learned that personal me and like business me are almost two completely different people. And so personal me, like, I'm a chill dude. I ain't no yeller, I ain't screaming. I'm really
Right.
chill.
Yeah.
Business me is very similar, but I'm very more direct. It's like I don't like something, and I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. But I can't do that because it's not the best. Like you said, it's not the right message to get across to you. And
Right.
so
Right.
sometimes, like you said, in the heat of the moment, you say something, but it's like I'm in a passionate moment right here. And sometimes you gotta learn how to separate that to where it's like you're not taking that too far. Like if we're hooping together and you cussing and yelling me out, I don't like it, but I know that's not you. I know that's you trying to
Right.
get the end goal is to win. So have we get the winning, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Then off the
Right.
court, we good. Ain't no personal stuff.
Exactly.
But
Right.
everybody doesn't understand that to where it's like, yo, what you doing? Like, yo, you
Yeah.
slipping. And you're
Exactly.
like, all right, man, whatever. So I,
You
I
know,
have to learn how to do that better for myself too.
for sure. For sure. Somebody told me they said there's always like you can always steer a conversation the way you want to steer. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
always like there's always a way. Like there's always a way to communicate. Whether you like the person, whether you're not, whether they're mad at you, whether they're like no matter what, there's a way. Like you just got to figure
Yeah,
it out. So like
yeah,
that's kind of my thing. Like sometimes I just like say it like just because I want to like get it out there. And
yeah,
it might be coming from the best place possible. Like I might
yep,
love you to death, but if it comes across the wrong way, like like it could end, it could mess up friendships, it could do anything. Like it come from like I said, could be coming from the best place possible. But like
Mm-hmm.
how you deliver it and how people receive it is like almost everything, honestly. Because that's
Yeah.
like the door. Like if they ain't gonna open the door, then it ain't gonna matter what you're trying to bring in. Like
Yep.
it don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Good intentions don't excuse poor behavior.
Not at
I learned
all.
that hard this
Not at
year.
all.
Like,
Not at all. I learned
yeah,
that
that's
too.
that's a
I
tough
learned,
one.
like I said, my rookie year, I learned that too. Like I was there to win, but it's like my coach was like, yo, like you can't be cussing everybody out. You can't be you can't be on everybody like this. Like they've been doing this longer than you. This ain't like you know better. So it's like
Yeah.
learning how to and like I said, I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking that I knew better. So it was like
Yeah.
I was just trying to I'm just trying to win. I'm mad. Like I'm this is practice. I'm mad. We lost. So I'm like I
Mm-hmm.
ain't thinking like oh no like this guy I don't know what he's talking about. No, like I'm just mad we lost and I'm trying to figure out what it went. But
Yeah.
like you said, like it don't matter. Like none of that matters if it's delivered the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That's a whole hour conversation we can have right there, man. Just
Yes, it
on that,
is.
you feel me? But
Yeah.
um wait, wait, hold on. Time out. Hold on real quick. I just got a quick question for you. All right, okay, look. So where does you go? Like what are you going after right now in your life? Right? Are you looking to make the team? Okay, you didn't make the team, but you're looking to figure out how to make the team coming up. Or maybe you made the team, but you're right on the bench, you're not playing like you want to. Or maybe you're playing a little bit like you want to, but you're not a starter, or you're not finishing the games like you want to. Or maybe you're the player, but you're just not quite where you want to be as far as recognizing your county or maybe your conference or your state, whatever you're trying to be recognized at. Um, Whatever your goal is, I want you to forget about that. Like put it on the board or something, write it down in your phone and just put it somewhere and tuck it away. I want you to take that goal, throw it over there, and now I want you to write a new one, right? I want you to write PROGRESS. Progress. I want you to make progress your goal. Okay. So take that big goal that you have now and take it, put it in your back pocket, and just figure out how to make progress and work towards that goal. Because sometimes we get so caught up on the goal of the end goal where we want to be that we don't keep working forward and working towards that goal like we should be. So every day I want you to wake up and figure out how to just make progress. How can I be better today than I was yesterday? It's new tomorrow. The same as that thing. Figure out how can I be better today than I was yesterday. It doesn't matter how good you are or what you did yesterday. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Your goal today is to make progress be better than you was yesterday. And so if you need a reminder about that, all I want you to do is to have a reminder. I want you to go ahead and get one of these hoodies. Or you get you a t-shirt. I got a couple options for you. So get you a hoodie or a t-shirt just to remind yourself, just to keep it as a memento to be like, man, today's goal is to make progress. My only goal is to make progress. Progress is the only goal. So if that fits you and you feel like you need to make progress to be your goal, go ahead and hit the link in the description below and invest into yourself, invest into that reminder. Treat it like an alarm clock to remind you that you need to make progress. Make sure that you're focused and being intentional about the work that you had today. So progress is the only goal. Hit the description below to invest into yourself. It's not about me. Investing into yourself to remind yourself that progress is my goal for today. So that's enough for me, man. I hope I didn't interrupt you. Get back to the episode. I'm curious, man, because I've seen your game grow a little bit and change. Like, what has been like the biggest like tweak to your game that you've been having? Because like you said before, you were basically athletic, like a DeAndre
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, Dwight Howard type of big. So like now you're a little bit more skilled, a little bit more finesse. So like, what's the biggest change and shift to your game that you've seen being overseas?
Um, I'd honestly have to give it to my coach in Geneva. He was like when he signed me, he's like because most everything I did in Sweden was pick and roll. And he
Mm-hmm.
first thing he told me, he was like, I don't really like playing like that. But he's like, I showed him enough to where like I could pass, I could put it on the floor, I could shoot, like I shoot a little bit, and then like he wanted me to build off of that, which to me, like at first, like I was still a pretty young player going into my third year. Like in my head, I'm like what you don't want me dunking, like you don't want like come on, like what, like who doesn't want that? But like for
Yeah.
me personally, that was like the biggest, like one of the biggest blessings. Like now I had to, it's like throw you right back into the fire. Now I'm playing out on the floor. Like this is where I have to produce now. Like I'm not getting the pick
Mm,
and rolls. I'm not getting the lobs no more. I'm not getting. So now I'm having to figure out like I got to knock this shot down. I got to put it on the floor. I got to
mm.
hit somebody on the back door. So it's like learning how to just learning how to play. Like just learning the game. That's it.
Yeah.
The European game's different than the
Oh
game
yeah.
back in the States. Way different. And like that's I think that's just that's the I think that's the lesson every year. Like that's the goal every year. Just get better. Like mentally, physically, like skill wise, guys got what they got at this point. Like of course we can still get better, but like mentally, I feel like that's where we're really growing. It's like how we see the
Mm,
game, like how we see the players. It's like I think that's what separates the good players, great players, elite players. I think that's where like
yeah.
that separation lies. I think it's all mental.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where I've improved, and that's where I'm still trying my hardest to improve is on the mental part.
Yeah. Like I think IQ over there is different from American IQ. Not better or worse or anything. I think it's just different. So like the way they're
Mm-hmm.
taught to train to see the game is different from how we're taught and trained to see the game.
Absolutely,
So like
absolutely.
what are the biggest differences you've seen from like European to American at your level?
Um, I think Europeans see the game as a whole. Like I just think that's just how they see the game. Like they see basically all 10 players on the floor.
Mm,
Us Americans, how we learn, I think how we learn to play, like, and it's nobody's fault. Just the way we learn to play, we see the guy in front of us. We see the guy who's trying to guard us. Like that's it. I'm like that's how we learn to play the game. Like we got to beat him. And it's
yeah.
like after that, like we're finishing. Like that's what we be working. That's all we work on.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like Europeans when I watch like I follow like a lot of them on like Instagram and stuff like European trainers. They're working on a lot of like fundamental stuff. Get to the paint, 2 feet, look, pump fake, all that. Like get a guy like to try to like help kick out stuff like that, which is as a team is a better shot than you just breaking your man down and finishing over the five. So it's
Yeah.
like I think they see the game as a whole, but which is why they're trying to bring in Americans because there's not as many Europeans who could break down the guy one on one as like we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you said, like there's no I don't think it's better or worse. I just think it's just how we learn the game. Like I said, I learned the
Hmm.
game out in the yard. Like they over here in like Europe, they're in these clubs. Like the professional teams have like they have kids all the way down to like 8 years old, like working them up, like building them up to where they're finally trying to be pros. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just a different like it's a whole different process.
Yeah. And if you go to bigger countries overseas, they have like a legit like think about it how they'll have a pro system. So imagine if the Hawks they had a system all the way down to youth level. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically what they have overseas to
That's
where like
exactly
they'll
what it is.
basically farm you up through the system to where okay, we
Exactly.
know we're gonna have Scotty come up and play. We're gonna have BA come up and play. We're gonna have Cole come
Mm-hmm.
up and play because he's going through our system. So all you have to do is follow the system all the way through. So it's a lot
Exactly.
different from here to where it's like you have the Hawks way over here, then you have
Yeah.
college teams over here, you have G League over here. They're getting better with the G League team. It's kind of getting there, but like
Yeah.
over here, it's kind of like you got to scrap and get it for yourself. Or overseas, it's kind of just like just follow the program.
And I think that feeds back into the difference in play. It's like they're built into the club, so the club is going to instill in them what they want to, their values, like what they want, how they want to play, how they want their players to look.
Yeah,
Over in the states, like we're playing AAU, like we're playing at the rec, like we're on our own really. Like
yeah,
we're not riding around with like our teams all day. Like your AAU team is changing every week. It's like it's way more just individual until you get to college. Even in high school, it's pretty individual. I feel like until
yeah,
you get to college, like that's where like the real structure where they're like that coach is going to want you to play a certain way. He's going to have
mhm,
these goals set out for you. That and then which is me as a player. That's what I need, and that's what one thing I learned over the years. Like I'm very good in structure. Like I'm
mhm,
really good in structure. I'm really good. Once I don't have structure, then it's like I don't really know what to do. Like it's
mhm.
not like I don't know what to do, but it's like a wobble for me. It's like oh like okay like I ain't got
Mhm.
like nobody like oh like new can't work out today. Like oh what am I gonna do? Like what am I about to do? Yeah, so it's like
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. So like I just think their structure over here is just different than our structure in the
mhm.
States. Like the structure it is in the States is just built to make the best individual player possible.
Yeah.
which is valuable as we can see, is very valuable.
Yep.
But then overseas in Europe, their goal is to make the best club possible, which is valuable.
Hmm.
So like I just think like you said, just different IQs, just different intentions, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I respect the overseas system and how they do it. I remember Phil Handy talking one day, and he was saying how he wish or he sees and at some point Americans adapting some level of that system. Like the G League's kind of getting in place to where it's like a filter system level up there, but he
Mm,
sees it getting to where it's deeper all the way through like high school and stuff. So it's like trickling down a little bit better. So I
right,
don't know if we will get there all the way, but I feel like at some point we will adapt a little bit more of that. But
for sure,
we'll see.
for sure. I think so. I think we will. Um, yeah, like it, I think
if they were able to actually create that structure, I think it would make for
I think a better like pool of players. I just think like the
Hmm.
whole
whole like pool of players would improve. But
Yeah.
then it might bring down the ceiling of your like best player because like now it's like everybody's basically kind of doing similar things.
Hmm.
Everybody's kind of like it's kind of like bringing everybody in closer, which
could be a good thing. Like it just
depends on who you're talking to. Like I don't
Hmm.
think I have a view whether that's good or bad. I just think
like work is work.
like work is work, and like once you get out there, you're the work's gonna show. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. Like, I don't really know. I don't say which one's better or worse. I think it's just interesting to see the differences. And like,
Mm-hmm.
we've had a good output so far. Like, we still pretty, still doing
Absolutely,
pretty good. So I can't
absolutely.
really complain about what we've had. But of course, there's
Yeah,
always room for improvement. But I don't know, man. Really don't know.
always. Yeah, it's a never-ending
question.
question.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. So with your name being Scotty, man, I'm wondering, what player would you say you're most, what your current game? Who would you say you most similarly, playing like?
Mm, early on, like
Stanford in like my first couple years, they said I played like Tristan Thompson, which like when I first heard that, I took major offense. I'm not even gonna lie, I took major offense. But then, but then when I look back, I was like, I played exactly like Tristan Thompson. But
Yeah.
I think now like my favorite player is Draymond Green, and like I think I try to
Mm,
emulate a lot of everything he does. Like just offensively, defensively, I just feel like he's the ultimate kind of team player. Like
mhm,
defensively, especially, and I feel like that's how I like just I try to play defense like him. Like he covers ground. Like he's not the most athletic. He's not the biggest, but like he's there. Like he's on time. He sees it. It's like he might not even be in the right spot, but like he understands. Like he understands angles. He understands. Like
mhm.
he just understands the game. Like his IQ is like unbelievable, and like
Yeah.
he's really one of my favorite players to watch.
Mm. I can definitely see Trisha Thompson from your earlier days.
yeah, for sure.
But from what I've seen a little bit, I ain't seen a whole lot from you now, but like from the little bit I have seen, I can see a little bit more of a Draymond because your
Yeah,
skill level has grown. You're able to do way more with the ball in your hands than just like dunk, put back rebounds, and
right,
little stuff
right.
like that. So
Yeah,
your game has
for sure,
definitely grown
for
from
sure. Trying to
from
evolve.
Tristan
Oh man,
Thompson.
trying to trying to move up.
Oh, that was funny. But all right, man, we're wrapping up here. So I have two questions that I ask every guest, that comes on here. So, number one, what has been like the the biggest lesson that you've learned from the game? We've all had like a coach that gave a little speech during practice or during the game or something, and it kind of just like hit a light bulb in your head, or a parent come and gave you some little game or something, whatever you had. So, like, what was that moment? What was that lesson from you that you learned from the game, or that you learned about yourself from the game?
I think I learned you can't control,
Every situation,
but you can control how you react.
react to it.
And
Mm,
I think I went through a point where I was
Reacting terribly. Like I was reacting terribly, and I think the part that like kind of woke me up was like I didn't care like that I was reacting badly like that,
mm,
and like me, I'm like that's not me. Like me, like me, like I'm like I actually kind of like care. I'm like I want to be like the nice guy. I don't want to be like the guy you can talk to all that. But like there was a point where
where
I hit. I'm like I don't care how you like who you think I am. Like which can. I'm like, that's kind of scary for me. I'm like, you're losing yourself
Yeah.
when like that happens.
Mm.
And I'm like, for the game to teach me that, I think is crazy. And like, I definitely learned that like in over my years, like over my first 4 years overseas, like
Mm.
situations change constantly. But like
Mm.
you as a person, like
you should, of course, we're going to change, but like your core values and what you stand on should never.
Mm.
And like I think
Mm.
like I don't think mine changed, but I think mine started like shifting, and like that's when I
Mhm.
kind of like I had to like step back and realize like, come on, like we got some
Mm.
soul searching to do. But yeah, I
Mm.
think I think that was that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned for sure.
Yeah, I recently went through that myself too. I had something happen, and it was just kind of like it took me to a 10. You feel me? I was just like, and then maybe like a couple weeks later, I was telling my homegirl, I was like, I ain't even mad about what they did anymore. Like what they did is
mm-hmm.
what they did. I
Right.
was disappointed in myself and how I reacted to it. Cause
Exactly.
why did I allow that to take me to 10? Like,
Right. It's like you're not you. It's like you're losing yourself. Like why are you gonna let somebody else dictate me? Like literally like my core beliefs. I'm like, this isn't how I act. And
mhm,
you're gonna let somebody else dictate that for you. Like that should never be the case. And like
yeah,
it was a little upsetting for me. I'm like, how could I let somebody do that?
yep,
And I like that's the challenge I'm still working on. Like everybody has emotions. Everybody's gonna get upset, but it's like you
hmm,
have to learn like just everybody says control your emotions, but you just have to learn how to manage them, how to express them. Really, like just
hmm,
how are you gonna express them? Like me, like that year when like you said, it took me to 10. I didn't care how I was expressing. I was just gonna express it one way or another. You're gonna hear it. And I'm like,
yeah,
that ain't the way. That ain't the way to operate. That's not the way to operate on the court, off the court, in life. That's just not.
yep,
So like, I think learning how to like express, like just like we were talking about earlier, communication, expressing like your
hmm,
emotions, how you feel, like just
Everything, because
it all boils back down to wins and losses. Like in my field right now. So like
yeah,
I'm holding in all these emotions. I'm mad at somebody. They probably mad at me. They probably not telling me everything. Now the team's kind of falling apart. So like, and what I do, like there has to be a certain level of communication. There has to be a certain level of accountability. And I think like I said, like that at that point, I was not holding myself accountable for the way I was
hmm,
reacting. And
yeah,
that, like you said, it's disappointing.
it's disappointing.
yeah. That's a tough lesson that I wish more people learn. Because I heard this quote and it was saying how once you allow like once when some people could say something to control you or bother you, whatever, they basically not have control over you. So
Exactly.
ever since I
They
heard that,
do.
I was just like, I can't
They
have
do.
that.
It's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy. And then like,
Like then I realized how easily I would let somebody control me. Like
Yep.
just
Yep.
when my first few years, like they could say one thing and I'd be ready, just own it. Like what, huh? Like no, like just be like argumentative for no reason. Like they
Yeah.
could have been joking for all I knew. Like I don't know, but it's just like like
Yeah.
it's just that's just kind of like the mindset I was in. But then
Yeah.
like once you take a step back and like realize you're not going to accomplish anything, snapping back at everybody, like reacting
Hmm.
to every negative situation, like you're not accomplishing anything. So
Yeah.
like that's one of the main lessons. I think that's the lesson I'm gonna take with me for the rest of my life. Like that's one thing I'm trying to work on every day.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, brother. I'm still dealing with that. I gotta get that out of my heart, man. I gotta get that
oh,
straight.
we
But
all are. We all are.
yeah. So last question, man. I'm big on giving people their flowers, because a lot of people don't get the respect and recognition they deserve until, it's too late. And
Mhm.
so right now I want you to give somebody their flowers that you feel like deserve it. It can be a coach that you've had, a teammate, a trainer that whoever that you just feel like, man, that like they getting slept on right now, and they need a little bit more love and respect in their name. So who that person for you? It can be a teammate you've had, currently got a coach, trainer, player, whatever.
Yeah. Let me think.
I had so many. I had so many because you. I think you take something from everybody. Like everybody you come in contact,
Mm,
everybody you actually like come in contact with, like
yeah.
you take something from everybody, whether it's negative, positive, like whatever it is, you take something. But I think honestly, like my first year coach, like my first and second year coach in Sweden, like I owe him so much, so much. Like
Mm,
just off the strength of him signing me as a walk on out of college, like just off that. and like just the way he kind of like molded me that year, like he was, like I said, like he came to me like, yo, Eric, you can't be acting like this, can't be screaming at everybody. Had a moment like during the season where it's like I think, my goodness, like I was so immature. I was, we were, what had happened? So we start the year with like our full team, and then the five I was splitting minutes with. He played at Davidson. He was good, like good. He was Swedish, but he was good. Played Davidson, Boston College. Me and him, he gets bought out early, like after like 2 games. So it's just me at the five for about like 4 or 5 games. Then they bring in another Swedish guy. He's about like 6'11", like he's big dude, but like we're both kind of like mobile, kind of play similar. And then we really start like splitting minutes. So I'm like, and I was playing well at the time. And like there was a game, I think he had like played good and I wasn't really playing that much. And like you could just kind of see it on my face. Like I just wasn't really happy. And like he just said in front of the whole team, he's like, yo, you want to go home? Because it's like,
I'm not having that. Like we're not like this team. Like this team is way too good for one player to bring it down and to have all that.
So it's like I had that moment, and then coach like that coaches me up to this day. Like he hugged me every day. Like he wanted to meet my mom. Like he was like that's literally one of like my guys for real. And like for somebody to be able to hold you accountable to that level, but still have that type of love for you, bro. Like my his name is Ludwig DeGen. I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is we call him Luda. But like that, he did so much for me my first 2 years. Like just
helped me adjust to
the overseas life, the professional life, just teaching me about myself, like helping me mature in general. Like I owe a lot to him for sure.
Yeah, I respect coaches like that, man, because I'm trying to figure it out for myself. Like, how do you, show all the love and everything without being too soft, and then give them the, accountability and the tough love and stuff without going too far left. And like, so I respect any coach that does have that balance.
For sure. I think it's just based off respect.
Like that's it. Like if you show me respect and I'm like, I can't even like, you can't even really quantify respect. Like, how do you like, like, what is respect? Like, how does somebody give you respect? But it's like, you feel it. So like when somebody gives me respect, automatically I give them respect. And I give respect anyways. Like that's just how I was raised. So I'm like, when I feel that reciprocated, like automatically you want to go the extra mile for them, give them 110%. And I feel like that's like everything, just in any type of relationship and just in life, it literally boils down to respect, I think.
Yeah, man. I think that's true. That's perfect. Just come down to respect. Like,
that's it.
If
respect, and I feel like
respect kind of feels like a little like, I don't know the word, like
harsh, like kind of like,
oh, like respect me. Like it's not that. It's just like, when you say something, I listen. Like when you say something, like I actually like care, like what you have to say, not like
when, like I said, like when I'm hot,
like I just wave you off. Like no, like don't talk to me right now. Like no, I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah.
Like that's not respect. That's disrespectful. So it's like that's like you can't. Like, that's you build respect. Like respect is earned, like they always said. But I'm like, there's always a respect that I feel like every relationship should have coming in. Like especially like whether it's professional, whether it's like any relationship. So like I feel like there should always be a baseline, and then you should build from there. And I feel like that's where good relationships blossom.
Exactly. Like growing up, we always heard respect is earned, never given. But then it got to a point where I realized like that's not 100% true. I think, like you just said, there's a foundation of respect. Yeah. There's a foundation of respect. Right, everybody earns a certain level of it. Like everybody starts off at level 2. Anything more than that, that's what's earned.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and like give you like just not listen to you until you say something that's actually like worthless. Like, no, bro. Like whatever you have to say, I'm gonna take it in. Like there should always be that sort of, like you said, like that sort of baseline. And then from there it should build.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So but that's it, man. We can be another 2 hours, man. But we got stuff to do, man. So I'm gonna give you some of your flowers, bro. I'm gonna give you your flowers, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Working the camps with you, man. Like I've worked a lot of camps, like especially Sanford, and I've been to camps and stuff. And like one thing I noticed about you, bro, like you truly care. Like, we've always had coaches who just kind of like go through the motions of it's like, oh, whatever. But like, now you really care about the kids, and it's like somebody slacking, it's like, yo, what you doing? Like, why are you here then? Like, you know what I mean? Like you genuinely care.
Yeah.
Like I respect that, man. To see how you've grown since Sanford, man, and to developing everything that you're doing now, man. I'm happy for you, man. And like it's dope to see what you're doing. So I hope you have a good long career, man, and we keep growing together, man, and just
No,
help
man.
out
I
Nuke with what he
really
got going
appreciate
in.
that, bro.
Salute. Yeah.
I really appreciate that, man.
And just like you said, bro. I see everything you're doing. Just like you see me, I see you, bro. Like everything you're doing, I respect, and I want to support in any way I can. Like you know where to find me. You got my number. You got anything, whatever you need, and I'm there. So I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you having this talk. Like this talk was real. Like I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot, man. But yeah, thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Anybody that comes on and supports the podcast, it really means a lot to me, man. So
For
I
sure, man.
appreciate it for
Anything I
real.
can do. Anything I can do.
So yeah, man, that's a wrap, everybody. Great interview with my bro Scotty. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and show some love, show some shares, and share it to somebody that want to get an understanding about the overseas game and learn about Scotty, about somebody from from Birmingham, Alabama, played at Hoover, played at Sanford, like homegrown guy. So show him some love. Follow me on social media, everything at BeBall Jones. What's social media, man? What you want people to follow you? I should have asked you that earlier.
It's EA Adams 13.
Let me get it right, man. So it's EA Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See right there. Yeah, follow my bro right here, man, on Instagram. Follow him, EA Adams on Instagram. Show him some love. Tell him, man, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. It was dope to have you on there. It was fun, whatever. Whatever you took away from it, let him know, man. He took some time out to come talk to me and share some game with you guys. So show him some love, man. But that's it, man. Thank everybody for listening. And tune in next week for another episode.